In this excerpt from the Ben and Ryan show, the group talks about what happens behind the scenes with passkeys and why are they a little messy right now.
In your presentation, you also mentioned Passkeys as being the next generation, or continuing on the current generation of security. Can you go into a little bit, just for people, some background on Passkeys and some of the technical pieces of it?
Sure. So passkeys are a mess, just to get that out of the way. But I believe they are going to gain some adoption. So the original concept behind passkeys is that we want to eliminate passwords, primarily because passwords are phishable. So, even if it's two-factor, like there's lots of scams and con artists that are very good at trying to get your, timed one-time use codes out of your authenticator and tricking you into sending that to them so that they can log into your account. So, passwords and codes, all this stuff is phishable and portable. Passkeys are designed to alleviate both of those issues. So passkeys were originally designed to be tied specifically to a given device. So your passkeys would be stored in secure storage on your phone or within your browser, and then they would stay there and never move. And that's great in theory, but unfortunately, people don't just use one device for everything. Like I've got my phone, I've got my computer here, I have my laptop that I travel with, I have another PC at home, all of which need to be able to access various accounts. And so they, Google and the others who are working on this technology had to extend it to where now passkeys need to be portable. So I need to be able to have a way to use one passkey to establish a passkey on another device, or make the passkey synchronize within an ecosystem. So, for example, Apple has their authentication system and iCloud, and so if you have a passkey on one Apple device, it will synchronize through iCloud to all of your other Apple devices, and that's great until I sit down at my Windows PC, and now my passkeys are not here, or if I'm in the Google ecosystem and I've got Chrome and just within the last couple of months, one of the updates to Chrome actually now will, just like you can sync your passwords across your Google account, it will now sync your passkeys across your Google account. So that's great for somebody like me, where I have a Linux PC and a Windows PC and a Windows laptop, and then I have an Apple iPhone. Now Chrome will synchronize between all of these things. With the possible exception of the iPhone. I don't know if they'll sync down to that yet. I haven't tried, but like I said, it's kind of a mess right now. Once you establish a passkey into an ecosystem, it's kind of stuck there, and it's very difficult to migrate passkeys from one platform to another. And websites that are implementing passkeys, the ideal is that you would support multiple passkeys for an account. So if I have, different ecosystems like, Google versus Apple versus Windows or whatever, and I need to be able to access my account from all of these places, that I would establish a passkey for each one. But a lot of implementations on websites, and I can't think of any specific examples, but there are plenty out there, where they support a single passkey for the account, and that's it. So once you're logged in with your Apple MacBook and your passkeys in your iCloud keychain, you just can't log in with your Android phone anymore, because or you have to fall back to using a password and a one-time use code, because that passkey just doesn't exist on that system, and you can't establish another one. And so the best practices around passkeys and how to implement them are still sort of being worked out and developed, and I think that's something that's going to mature over time. And it's going to take, there's a lot of large organizations that support passkeys, but it's still new, and people don't like change, and trying to explain to grandpa how password works is easy, but trying to explain how passkey works and how you have to have multiple ones, right? Sorry, grandpa, you can't log in with your your app, your Android device, because you are already signed in on your Windows laptop. Like, it just doesn't make sense to people. The technology behind it's amazing, and it's very secure, and it's not phishable.
So question on that, because I was reading up on passkeys, on the technical piece of it. If you allow syncing between devices, isn't that a hole for security? Like, I'm just thinking of, okay, hey, basically I log in through Google on multiple devices, and So if someone could log in into my Google account from their device, they get all the passkeys. Isn't that a big hole? Or am I not understanding that?
Yeah, well, and that's where the authentication piece comes into play. Originally passkeys are supposed to be linked to secure storage, so you'd have some sort of biometric behind it. So in order to unlock the iCloud keychain, you've got to use Face ID or fingerprint on older phones or things like that. So you have to have proof of presence in order to use it. That's how it's designed, but we're starting to see like 1Password now has passkey support within their browser extension, and that will apply across all of your devices that use it. So if you say have 1Password and you use that as your password manager everywhere, it will now manage your passkeys and synchronize them. So if somebody has your master key for 1Password, then yeah, they would be able to get access to your passkeys as well. Which kind of defeats the point of having the biometrics and proof of presence and stuff. Now 1Password has that super long master key, so every time you set up a new device or new computer or new instance of the thing, you have to go enter this 64 character long string or whatever. It's like a GUID that they give you that you have to put in. So that's kind of strong and probably is not going to be stored anywhere or shared. So they kind of consider that from the 1Password standpoint to be the equivalent of like a biometric authentication, but it's not the same. So there's always that root of trust that goes back to, and with the original passkey implementation, it's supposed to be proof of presence with biometrics, but places like Bitwarden and 1Password and others, they're going about it a slightly different way. So it's more secure than passwords, but it's not perfect.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you store your long 1Pass password in a text file somewhere. Someone gets that, and now it's completely unsecure. I mean, you bring it up in your presentation about, okay, if you're encrypting some of your secret values using a less secure technology or algorithm, then you're basically now making your whole system that only secures your weakest link.
Exactly. And then, we talk about the same concept when we're encrypting encryption keys with other keys. If you've got a bunch of encryption keys that you're going to encrypt with a key, that key needs to be at least as strong as the keys that you're encrypting. And I feel it's the same with, an extension like 1Password. Like my master key exists in a few places, but they're all offline. So if I need to add 1Password to something new, I have to physically go to a file cabinet or a safe deposit box to get it. It's not stored digitally anywhere. And so that adds to that level of security, but that's not to say that, the secretary isn't going to have the thing written down and taped to the bottom of the keyboard. We're sitting in a text file somewhere on a phone or a computer. It just depends on, who's implementing it. And as technology professionals, we understand all of this stuff and we understand the technology behind it and why it is the way it is. But a layperson who they just want it to work, and they're going to do whatever is the least amount of work involved and least amount of number of things they have to remember in order to get in. And the implementation of passkeys is great as long as everything you're doing is within one ecosystem, because it's all synced and shared behind the scenes, typically with some sort of biometric protection on top of it. But that just becomes a question of operational security and how do you implement policies and procedures that are easy for people to follow without compromising this stuff, because at the end of the day, for most users, it's just going to come back to convenience.
Can I switch directions for a second? Is it all right? I don't want to take you off passkeys, Ryan. If you have more questions,
that was my question on passkeys. I'm like, I did, with the syncing, I saw the security hole. I was like, wait, let me ask Justin about this. We got him on.
Yeah. Just as a last comment on passkeys, ColdFusion has no internal support for anything related to passkeys currently. And it's not easy to implement. There's probably some Java libraries that can be instantiated to do it. I'm in the process of working on a native ColdFusion solution that somebody could just include and do passkeys natively with ColdFusion code without any special requirements. But it's going to take a while. My free time. So, but it's something that I'm working on and we'll hopefully be able to release here in a couple of months.